Hey, this is Marc Goldberg with Marc Vlogs Watches, and today I have a really interesting topic to talk about, which is the Rolex waiting list. Now, there have been endless videos made, and we have talked endlessly in the forums, WhatsApp. Every ho-bro, or logical brother, wants to discuss the unfortunate shortage of Rolex steel sports watches. But one concept that I have seen over and over again on Facebook are people who actually get excited that they have been added to the Rolex waiting list. So that is going to be the topic of this video today. But before we proceed with that interesting, hilarious topic, the Rolex waiting list, it's time for the quick fistwatch check, and here she is. Guys, before the big reveal on the quick fistwatch check, just a quick reminder that this is a book that I wrote called Let Dogs Be Dogs. If you'd like to support this channel, and I sure hope you would, it's easy. Just buy my book. You can even give it as a Christmas gift. There's a link to where to get it in the description. It's available in bookstores everywhere and on Amazon.com. Today, I am wearing a watch that I like to call the Toilet Oak. It's a G-Shock, guys. But if you look at it and you look away real quick, it looks like a Royal Oak. You know, I suppose before we start to talk about the concept of the wait list, we really need to talk about the whole shortage issue and why there needs to be, something like a wait list in the first place. So just real quick by way of recap, for a period of about 2 years now, Rolex has decreased production and delivery to the authorized dealer of steel sports Rolex watches. And that includes a whole wide range of watches from including Submariners, GMTs, Yachtmasters, Air Kings, Explorer 1, Explorer 2, just a whole range of the steel Rolex sports watch. Now, if you were to go back in time 3-4 years ago, you would walk into a Rolex authorized dealer and there would be large cases. And in those cases, usually on the left-hand side of the display units, on the left-hand side would be all the steel sports stuff that, is not there now. And on the right-hand side would be all the two-tone date justs and, the gold pieces, the dates and, the dressier watches along with Cellini. So if you go into an authorized dealer today, you'll find that on the left side, the steel cases are bare. They literally haven't filled them. I think actually there are some rules and regulations because you see the same configuration at almost every authorized dealer. So those cases are left completely empty, and maybe they'll be smattered with, maybe you'll find the occasional discontinued white Milgauss over there, the occasional two-tone Yachtmaster, but boy, there's like no steel. You're not going to find a Submariner, a Batman, a black GMT, a steel Daytona, a Sky Dweller in steel. You will find none of that stuff. On the left-hand side cases, you will find bunches of empty little sad pillows. Yet they continue to light them up. Okay, so you just cannot buy those things at the authorized dealer. Now, if you go in and you ask about them, I made a previous video, which I will put a link in the description. There are some authorized dealers who keep that stuff in the back room, okay? Now, it's not like they're gonna have a lot of them. They may have like 1 or 2 steel watches in the back room. So take a look at my video called Why Your Authorized Dealer is Hiding Steel Sports Rolex in the Back. And again, I'll link that here. But let's just say the supply is down to a tiny trickle compared to what it used to be. You used to be able to walk into a Rolex dealer, look at every watch that they made and pick the one you wanted, purchase it and walk out. That has not been the case for a long time now. It's a couple of years since you've been able to buy anything in steel, and then the collectible stuff in steel is impossible to find. I dare you, I double dog dare you to find a steel ceramic, sorry, I'm having a brain fart. I double dog dare you to find a steel ceramic Daytona sitting in a case at the authorized dealer. Now, I know as soon as I say that there's going to be a couple guys who write in the comments, well, I got one. and I know exactly who you are, Da Machine. You're going to say, I got one. Yes, but you purchased $150,000 worth of watches from authorized dealers in the last 8-9 months. So they're going to give you whatever they have, and you're a VIP. You're in no way representative of the average buyer. Somewhere else, some other guy is going to make a comment that he did too, because yeah, there will be, somebody in the universe that is watching this video that says, bullshit, I got one, at MSRP, right out of the case at an authorized dealer, and I believe you, okay? But for every one of you, but you got the golden ticket, don't you realize? You won the Powerball, you won the National Lottery. It's extremely unusual for every one of you who is either able to spend your way into VIP status, and good on you if you can. Believe me, I don't regret that. I think that that's a marvelous thing. You work hard, you capitalize on your entrepreneurial instincts. I think that's a beautiful thing. I want to grow up to be a VIP too. Or you just get the golden ticket in your Hershey bar. Again, well then you had a phenomenal piece of luck. But for every one of you who was able to go buy that watch at MSRP, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of you who were not. Now, that brings me to the concept of the waiting list. And I'm going to right now I'm going to make a bold move and say that by and large, the waiting list is fake news. First of all, what is the waiting list? When you go into the authorized dealer and you say, hey, I would like to buy a steel Rolex GMT. And in fact, what I'd really like to get is a Batman or a Pepsi. After they're done laughing at you, they will tell you that there is a wait of 3, 4, 5 years. And if you say, well, what about the black one? They will tell you, well, the wait on that is 1 to 2 years. This is not what every one of these authorized dealer salespeople will say, but it's, it's typical language. It's typical, it's not standard, but it is in fact typical. So you will say, well, do you have a waiting list? And they will say, yes. And then they're going to bring out either a book or a form. And they will ask you if you want to fill out the book or the form to go onto the waiting list. Now, when you are asking for a watch such as a ceramic Daytona and you are filling out a form that they are going to put into their system and put you on the wait list, let me tell you what happens. If you don't go over to the diamond case and buy a bunch of other stuff, if you don't go to the Cellini, section and buy a $30,000 gold Cellini, which by the way will turn into about, $18,000 as you cross the threshold of the jewelry store leaving the mall. If you don't do one of those things, then as you are walking out of the authorized dealer, they are taking your waiting list form and they're feeding it right into the shredder. That thing is going to be in like 30,000 irretrievable pieces before you even leave the store. Now, do I mean that literally? Yeah, I think in some cases they're crumpling it and round filing it, okay? But in a lot of other cases, it's just going into a drawer that, is just going to build up that nobody ever really looks at. The concept of the waiting list, by and large, is a method of giving a polite answer to a potential customer, okay? When you come into the store, they don't want to laugh at you. They don't want to tell you it's impossible. They don't want to be rude to you. Now, there are lots of stories, and you can put them in the comments. If you've had somebody be rude to you at an authorized dealer, tell me the story in the comments, okay? I've had that rudeness from salespeople more in upscale car dealerships myself than I have at authorized dealers. Never really had a problem there. See, you know what it is, guys? I tend to dress like I'm a dog trainer, as you know, and I tend to dress in jeans and sweats. And if I'm going to go buy a Porsche or BMW, which I've shopped those things before, I tend to, go in looking like this. And the same is true if I'm going into an authorized dealer to look at a watch or to see what's there. I'm not dressing up, I'm dressing down because that's my life. And there are places that look at you and judge you accordingly. Okay, so some of you may have had bad experiences, and again, tell me about those in the comments. But the reason that the waiting list exists in the first place, to get back to that, is because they don't want to say, get out of the store, we don't have it, we're never going to have it, you're never going to get it, go away. They want to give you some hope because they sell a lot of things other than Rolex. There is no Rolex authorized dealer. Well, let me go back. What I was going to say is there are no Rolex dealers who sell only Rolex. Yeah, that's a lie because I've seen them in Hong Kong at the airport. There's a few, Mexico City. But by and large, mostly authorized Rolex dealers are located in really upscale, high-end jewelry stores who sell other brand of watches, gold jewelry, diamond engagement rings, earrings, stuff like that. And they would really like you to be buying other things from them. That's the first thing. And if you do a lot of that, by the way, then when they get in, the 3 of those ceramic, Daytonas they're going to see in the next 6 months, they're going to call you, okay? They're going to call you because you have elevated yourself to VIP status. But, if while you're in there, you buy the $89, gold-filled, zircon earrings for your wife for her anniversary, well, good luck. They're not calling you for, when they get on a really rare watch. But they want to have some way of mollifying you, okay, of soothing your frayed nerves. And that's what the waiting list is all about. The other thing you got to remember, guys, is in today's era of social media, it is so easy for you to, be treated badly at an authorized dealer, to get pissy about it, to walk out of the store and have bad Yelp, bad Google, and bad Facebook reviews posted to the World Wide Web for everybody to see, before you've even gotten to the parking lot. So I feel that these places are very conscious about social media today, and they are doing what they can do in order to avoid just poo-pooing you and sending you away. So in most cases, the waiting list is a way of just making you go away, not too angry. Now, there are exceptions to that rule, because I know a bunch of people are going to put into the comments, and in fact, please do, if you went on a waiting list and actually got the watch, because I know that happens too. But it happens to a very, very, very small minority of people. Guys, just a couple more points to bear in mind, and then we are going to wrap this up. First of all, when we talk about, or when you get all excited and you talk about, ooh, I got on the Rolex waiting list, there is no Rolex waiting list. Rolex coordinates nothing. Authorized dealers are independent businesses. They are all owned by entrepreneurs, typically jewelers. And they are not related one to another unless it is a chain of, Smith & Sons jewelers with 3 locations, all of whom are authorized Rolex dealers. By and large, these are independent businesses. So if you go on the waiting list, you are on the waiting list at that authorized dealer only. And as I've said earlier, that wait list that you may have gotten on either consists of a book that no one ever looks at unless you meet some very special criteria, or it consists of a form that goes into a file that no one ever looks at, or rarely anyway, or it gets shredded. So be aware that the authorized dealers are independents, and there is no central waiting list. That's the first thing. Now, another really critical point to remember is when you are talking to somebody at an authorized dealer, there are levels of people that work at these places, and they range from people who are probably working not much over minimum wage and on commission. They are not likely to be behind the Rolex counter. Somebody more senior is going to attend to you if you happen to stop by the Rolex cases, including that empty steel sports case. That being said, everybody else could be on lunch, so you could be dealing with somebody who's relatively new, relatively low paid. So my authorized dealer told me that their rep said, I can't tell you how many times I've heard that one. I discount all instances of that. Look, I don't care who told you anything at an authorized dealer. They are speaking out of school unless you are talking to the store manager or the store owner, okay? Otherwise, because the representative of Rolex does not talk to anybody on the floor. They talk to the owner or the manager, and then the owner or the manager may talk to staff and tell them, what they've learned. But by the time you're getting it from the well-dressed kid on the sales floor, it is passed through 3, it's like whispering down the lane, guys. They say that a camel is a horse built by committee, so everybody is describing, what they saw. I think I'm on the wrong fable, but you get the point. Don't trust what you hear from people on the floor about what the future holds for Rolex and about even what the meaning of your entry into the Rolex wait list is, unless you're talking to the store manager or the owner of the store. Couple final thoughts. Remember, salespeople at Rolex authorized dealers they are commissioned personnel. They would love to sell you a watch. They don't want to make you angry. If they will make a very juicy little commission if you come back in there and you buy anything else, including a Rolex. I believe that Rolex markups are something in the vicinity of 40%, so it's juicy. And the reality of it is that it's very nice if you go on the Rolex wait list, but if you want to go on a wait list for a Batman or something really rare, if I were you, I would register at multiple authorized dealers, but be aware, it might not mean a whole lot, okay? Is it possible that you're going to get the call? Oh my God, you've got my watch, incredible. Yay, I'll be right over. Yes, that's entirely possible, but you know, so is it possible to hit the lottery? So basically what I want to say is, if you are interested in buying a watch and you're not interested in dicking around with the wait list, watch another video that I wrote, or that I made, which is called the Rolex Shortage Workaround. And that is the second link that I'm going to put in the description of this video, because I talk about how you can get pretty much anything. Yes, you'll pay a premium, but it's available. So don't let, you know, be sensible, but don't wait forever and figure that the authorized dealer is the only place to get a watch. Okay guys, well, I hope this made some sense to you. At the end of the day, the waiting list, it's kind of fake news. Don't get excited when you make the waiting list. Chances are they're just getting rid of you in such a way as you know, not to make you sad, unhappy, and angry, because they really want to keep you off of Google reviews, Facebook reviews, Yelp reviews. They just don't want you trashing the store. Most of the time, it's just not their fault that they don't have those watches. Rolex isn't sending them, but the Rolex waiting list, fake news. Tell me, what do you guys think? Finally, please, if this is your first time or second or third time watching one of my videos and you haven't squished the subscribe button yet, what are you waiting for? What do I gotta do? Please join me, please subscribe, hit the little bell if you are subscribed so that we can do this again. Guys, this is Goldberg. Peace out.